What's up, guys? It's your commissioners, Lil Shane and Zach over there. And we're talking about the May the Best Man Win Dynasty Football podcast. So here we go. We're going to talk about our champion, Mark. We're going to talk about him a lot. We're going to talk about some of the matchups that came up this year. We're going to talk about some trades. Jack has a whole agenda. But first of all, I just want to thank everybody for playing this year. It was a great year. We're doing exactly what Dynasty needs to do. We have teams that are kicking some ass. We have teams that are rebuilding. We have teams that are trade. People are active on the trade market. Like this league really is doing some cool stuff. And I'm going to pass it off to my co-commish right over here, Zach. Get us going, bud.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Hey, guys. Great season. My kudos to Mark, man. Glad you were able to pull out a win. Those definitely aren't easy, especially in with a group of guys that are so competitive and are just trying to do anything and everything that we can to win, and you were able to do it. So congrats to you, man. You deserve every bit of it. And just a couple of things, man. I think it's interesting when you look at Mark and his team and his approach. You got a lot of guys that will, sell the farm. They sell every pick. They consolidate the bench. They get super thin. They go for high octane, right? You look at Mark's team, that's not what he did. I think when I go into his transactions, and I didn't memorize every transaction he did as far as trades goes, but the consensus was there wasn't a lot of trades that Mark was just going. He wasn't one of the tradesters in the league. I think he made back either right after or before the draft. He trades away a pick that I gave him to move up to part of my Patrick Mahomes kind of series of trades to get my path to Patrick Mahomes, which is proving to be a terrible, terrible move the past couple of years. But he ended up trading the 108, which, if you guys recall, was used to draft Brock Bowers by Vic. So he basically essentially gave away Brock Bowers. But in return, he got Josh Jacobs, RB5 for this year. And he got Calvin Ridley, which I believe he was like, I don't know, nothing spectacular. I think a mid wide receiver 3, 29 or 30 or something like that. So the point is he didn't sell the farm. He didn't sell out. He didn't sell his future. He's still going to be competitive. He's not one of these guys that we're going to run into where, they're running towards the end of their shelf life on all their players. He's got some gas left in the tank. He's got some question marks that he'll have to address, but ultimately he's got a good young team that could be sustainable for, quite some time. And he still has every single one of his picks, I believe, coming up. So Mark, great job, man. Great job managing the team. And another thing to point out about Mark's team is, guys, in this league, you don't have to be number one in the standings in the regular season. You don't have to be kicking everyone's ass every week in, week out. You just got to make it to the playoffs. And as you guys have seen, you guys are all vets. You've seen it time and time again. When you make big pushes and at least just get to the playoffs, how many times have you guys seen it where the guy that barely sneaks in ends up winning the whole damn thing? And that's exactly what happened here. I think he was the 5th seed or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. I know he won his division, so he's one of the division winners. But the point is
they're both 16 and 12. He tied for the top of his division. Like it was not a good record per se, but like you just said, it doesn't matter. He just kept on winning. He won at the right times.
Yeah, like he was 7th in max points for, so he was actually outside of the top 6 on points, but was still able to get into the playoffs and then got hot and won. So, man, good job. You got your future. You didn't have to sell out and go full win now. Looks like you have, a good makings of a win now, win later team, which is the ultimate dynasty goal. And, man, good job.
Yeah, he did it right. He really did. Like you said, his team's not star-studded. It's not. But you know what? Neither are the Kansas City Chiefs right now. And they're 15-1, 16-1, whatever it might be. And he did it the right way because he won a championship without having to sell his future, like you said. I have a dynasty team in another league where I sold my entire future. I went 21-4 or 20-5 or something like that, something ridiculous. And I got my ass kicked in the championship by Gerald. Now I put up 200 points. He put up 240.
Oof.
And I couldn't be mad about it because my team did what it was supposed to. But it's not about winning every game; it's about winning the right games,
Right.
and that's what Mark did.
Yep.
Mark won the right games, and I couldn't be happier. And it could not come to a better person. Come on, who doesn't like Mark, man? He's still one of my favorite people in the world. Even though I haven't seen him in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
come on, bro.
He's still amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what's next?
So, Mark, good job, but also want to get the shout outs to the other runner ups. Andy, man, you crushed it last year. You did well. I think you end up having either the best max points for last year. I think you were near like 11 or 12 pick that you got. So, you did great. Your team's still, pushing out, hey, what's up, Parker? Hey, buddy.
What's up?
Hey, what are you going to say about Dr. Andy's team? Why didn't he win? Tell him to come on.
Come on.
Come on, Dr. Andy.
Yeah,
what happened?
Yeah,
he lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How much that hurt? How many times have you lost a championship game?
0.
All right, get out of here. All right, get out of here.
He's a winner, and
Yeah,
Dr. Kavanaugh's a loser. No,
He's actually not
No,
lying.
Andy-
He's never
Andy-
lost a championship game in his life.
No,
All right,
good
go to
job,
bed.
Andy.
Yeah, school in the morning. Go to bed. I told him to come dog on Dr. Andy whenever he heard his name.
That's awesome. And then Corey got third place, man. So good job, Corey. So ultimately, I think it's it was a great season. Like Shane said, there was a lot of activity, lots of trades going through. So it was ultimately a good season. But man, the NFL season's kind of coming to a close. At least the regular season is. And what are your thoughts, man? As far as any surprises? We talked about the fantasy teams here, and May the Best Man Win Dynasty. What are your overall thoughts about the season, and what are you looking forward to in the playoffs?
For NFL,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Chiefs getting beat.
Yes, me too.
They have to. The stuff that they're doing right now is not sustainable.
No,
It's Andy Reid being Andy Reid. He's the best coach in the NFL right now, in my opinion. I think there's Andy Reid, and there's a huge gap, and then everybody else. The guy is just freaking amazing.
For
and
sure.
But what they're doing is winning by last second field goals. They're winning by margins of error that are so slim that do not work in the playoffs. Right now, Patrick Mahomes is not the best quarterback in the NFL. That would be Josh Allen. Or Lamar Jackson. Honestly, pick one.
Yeah.
It doesn't even fucking matter. It's not Sam Darnold. I will die on that hill.
No, especially after this past game. It was.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll give him week 18. I don't give a shit. I'll give him that. But unfortunately, Sam Darnold is up there in that league. But I can't put him in the top tier. I think that your Vikings and Detroit are going to be the class of the NFC.
Yeah, the record says
those teams.
The record says it. At least right now it does.
And
you look at
one of those teams will play the Bills.
Yeah, I'm still, man. We'll see. The way they kicked our ass, but you know what? When I look at that game last night, and we don't need to dive all the way into it, but you brought it up, and I'm wearing purple, and fuck it, I'm going to do it.
By the way, I'm not wearing football.
Yeah.
And right now, there's no football past college in my mind right now, and there hasn't been for a couple of years. So I'm wearing my Spurs jersey. I'm wearing my Wemby jersey, baby.
Right.
They're actually playing the Bulls right now. I was with my buddy Roe, who's a big Bulls fan. We were watching the game together for the last couple of hours. I don't even know what the score is, but I'm not. We're not going to talk about those boys with the stars in the helmet.
Wouldn't expect anything less from a Cowboys fan. Yeah, no, I think it really comes down to 5 plays. I don't know how many of you guys were watching last night, in prime time. It's a huge game. The winner got the number 1 seed in the NFC. The loser got the 5 seed. The first time in NFL history that a 14-3 team is not going to win their division, is going to get a wild card. It's never happened before. The closest was the Dolphins back in, I think, 99 or something like that, where they had 13 wins and didn't win their division.
Yeah.
So crazy, high-powered division. And then you look at the Packers. I think they finished like 11-6 or something like that. So really strong division, really good talent in NFC North. I think there's really 5 plays. You get that Van Ginkel, which thank you, Cowboys, by the way, for that stud. You get that pick 6 that he should have had. You have the 3 first and goal at the 7, first and goal at the 5, first and goal at the 5, and only leave with 3 points out of all 3 of those, red zone opportunities. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. So I think you add those 3, you convert those to 21 points, you add that pick 6, and I think and then you that kicker who our kicker who kicked it out of bounds within 20 seconds left in the half, and they were able to drive down. Those 5 plays, that those things go a different way, which very well could have, and then we win that football game. And then the last time we played them, we were beating them 10-0 in the first half, and then they came back and won and beat us in the last second field goal. So I still think that if we get through the Rams, we can beat them. And then the other thing too is and man, you got me. I'm sensitive right now, man. Last night I'm still hurting, so I'm like my purple juices are still flowing. But interesting thought. First loss of the Vikings was to the Lions in week whatever. Mm-hmm. Very next game, our second and only lost until last night, was against the Rams. So we only lost 2 games up until last night, and it was back-to-back weeks, and it went Lions, Rams. Well, we just lost to the Lions again, and guess who we play next? The very next game, the Rams. So does history repeat itself? I don't know. If it does, I will be finding different jerseys to put on for the remainder of the football season as well. So that's that. Cool. Well, enough about that. What about players, man? Who are some big surprises for you? Who are some guys that popped off in fantasy in the NFL or for their teams that you thought were noteworthy, that were kind of not the expected Lamar Jacksons, Josh Allens of the world, but the guys that you were like, wow, I was very surprised by this guy, or I knew this guy was going to pop off. I had a feeling that he did, and he did. And so who are some guys that are notable for you for this season?
I'm going to talk about one guy who I did not think was going to pop off because he had a good pedigree coming out of college, but because of his situation and because of his quarterback, I was not very impressed with. But let's go back to my business partner's team, and let's talk about this guy, man. Brian Thomas Jr. What a stud. Drafted number 12 overall. Let's just pull up his history. Anyway, I pulled up earlier. He was drafted number 12 overall in the rookie draft. And he surpassed everybody. All the wide receivers in the first round. Marvin Harrison Jr., who went like top 2. And this guy was a difference maker.
Yeah. For a rookie season. Incredible.
Like he's number 4. Number 4 wide receiver overall as a rookie.
Yeah.
That's of all wide receivers. I mean, you just go into his game log and started off here and there, but dude, he finished with an unbelievable stretch.
And not with Trevor Lawrence.
Not with Trevor Lawrence.
8 weeks he had Mac Jones.
He survived with a backup quarterback, which is very difficult. It's difficult to do for any wide receiver, but it's very difficult to do as a rookie wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just out there just running routes, making the best thing you can do with this quarterback you may or not have a rapport with, and he's just making plays, man. Like
the dude is tall, has that prototype wide receiver 1 build, but is fast. Like he's barely slower than Worthy. Like he's got burner speed, but then has the physicality and the dimensions of just, one of these just, stud perennial, wide receiver 1 for a team. So that combine that level of height and weight with that level of speed is just, I think it's going to be special, man. He's going to be great. So
good. One more guy I want to talk about is this guy. He won a lot of people championships.
Not Brock Bowers, huh? I guess you were expected, huh?
Trey McBride.
Okay.
Because this guy won a lot of people championships. This guy cost me a championship single-handedly. That league that I went 21-4 or whatever in, I got beat by a 40-point showing from Trey McBride.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And in a tight end premium league, these guys are gold. And these are the guys you never trade. Trey McBride is a never trade guy. Brock Bowers is a never trade guy. I have Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in my league. Those are never trade guys. Like, they're young enough and they're good enough. In these type of leagues, quarterbacks and tight ends make a difference. They really do. And just look at his points, man. Because we're tight end premium, I mean, he's in the 20s constantly. There's just some 30s, and then he ends obviously the championship game with his all-time best game ever at 36 points. Again, it was like 44 in my league. So we get 2 points for reception for tight ends in that league.
Now, I got a question. Do you think that Marvin Harrison Jr., as he, continues to develop and work himself into the system in Arizona, do you think that he'll tear into a little bit of what Trey McBride's doing? Or would you say that Marvin Harrison is getting the amount of targets that he's going to get, or it's not going to be a substantial difference to where you see Trey McBride continue to sustain this level of performance?
I think Kyler Murray does not help Marvin Harrison Jr.
But
Kyler Murray is the perfect quarterback for a tight end.
Okay.
Perfect. Because think about it. He's scrambling. He's running for his life, and his O-line sucks. His O-line is terrible. And you're going to look for the biggest target in your face. I've been there. You've been there. We've played football before. And when you're scrambling for your life, you're looking for the biggest person in front of you. And Kyler Murray is not good enough to find that deep throws. So he hits Trey McBride over and over again. And I think that in 2027, Marvin Harrison Jr. will be a top 10 wide receiver. Quarterback will not be Kyler Murray.
Ooh.
That's my prediction. It will
like as in MHJ goes somewhere or Kyler Murray goes somewhere?
Oh, I think Kyler's getting benched.
Oh, wow.
I think he's getting benched. He had a pretty bad season this year. Next year, I think it gets worse. And by 2027, I think there is a new quarterback in Arizona.
Wow.
His name might be yours.
Oh my gosh! Please don't. Oh, please don't.
Look at the line. Look at the horizon and look at the line. Look at where they're going.
How are you still?
Especially if Quinn goes to Miami next year and plays one more year in football, which break my freaking heart. But the reality of it is, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I don't.
Or Quinn gets drafted in the 4th round this year, and he's there anyway. So it's.
I think you said it right there. I think that's what he is. I think he's a 4th round, 3rd round. He is a poor man's Gardner Minshew. He's not even as good as Gardner Minshew. So, we'll see. And then what? You put the same situation. A guy who can't throw the deep ball, it'd be the same thing. I don't. But much worse. I don't know. I hate that. I
don't love it, but I think that the reality of it is actually a pretty good chance. Yeah. I don't think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy until over a year from now, 2027. He's gonna have a 3rd-year breakout, and but he can't do it with Kyler. I'll die on that hill. He cannot produce a top 10 wide receiver year with Kyler.
Yeah. Well, I'll wrap up the surprise players for me. Not really surprise, but just performances that I love seeing. You mentioned BTJ and Trey McBride. I love to see that Jamar Chase was able to do what he did and show how special he is in a contract year. And
hell yeah, dude.
And that the most important time for him to get that. So love seeing that. I'm curious to see where Higgins goes.
Number 1 player in like fantasy, like or the number 1 non-quarterback in fantasy, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's just my big thing with Chase and Burrow, and they shut me up this year. But if you go back, and you don't have to do it now, but just to highlight, if you guys want to double check it or whatever, but if you go back and look at Jamar Chase's historicals, and you look at his yardage, it's always been these big 50, 70-yard touchdowns. And I'm not saying that he didn't have those this year, but when you look at Burrow's game log as well, and you look at those in tandem with each other, not this year, but in previous years, you see a lot of 16, 14, 17 quarterback weeks for Joe Burrow. And then you see these 50, 55, 40, and he gets 75% of his fantasy points he gets in a few games. And you look at Jamar Chase, it was kind of the same thing. And he had some down years, coming up. But the big knock on the Bengals was their inconsistencies, and they look like frauds to me because they would have these amazing stats and finishes, but it was based off these huge, massive games that put them up there. But consistently, they had a lot of poor performances. You didn't see that this year. This year, you saw consistency from Joe Burrow. You saw consistency from Jamar Chase, and they shut me up. That was my big knock on them. That was like, oh, okay, they're inflated because of these huge 50-point games. Now he had those, but now you're counting 5, 6, 7 games where he's 35 points or more, and I don't know if those are exact numbers or not, but it's a lot of these huge performance games to where it gets to a point to where it's no longer streaky and fluky, and it's more of like, no, this is just who he is. So I love to see what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is doing. Jamar Chase in a contract year, I think it's fantastic. And then I love seeing the underdogs, on the quarterback side as well with guys like Baker. Last year wasn't a one-hit wonder. We all thought that Baker wasn't great. He was going to go to Tampa and be okay. Then he had a great year last year. And the big question mark was, can he do it again, or was that a one-off? And then he finishes as QB4. QB4. Only 3 quarterbacks in the entire NFL league from a stat perspective did better than Baker Mayfield. And, what a year.
He dropped to QB5 just after.
He did drop to QB5 the last week.
After the fantasy season, he was QB4. Dude, I in my other dynasty league, I have Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Baker Mayfield. Baker's my sub. And somehow, like, we just saw the stat with Joe Burrow. He put up like 44 points in the championship game. Mm-hmm. If I would have played Baker, this is a different point differential, obviously. I probably would have gotten, I don't know if I would have won. I would have gotten closer. But anyways, I just put Baker on the trade block. And I told everybody, I said, I'm looking for QB4 value. If not, I'll keep him. Like, it's fine because he's going to be top 10 next year, almost guaranteed. Almost
go ahead and
guaranteed.
Hit history. Go hit history instead of game log on that screen. How do you do that on the? Basically, I want to see where it shows the trade transactions. If you scroll down the bottom,
because he was traded in.
Go to the bottom, very bottom of that screen. There you go.
Oh, there he goes. All right, traded to Kavanaugh from you for James Cook.
Yep.
And then traded to you. Oh, it goes down and up. So drafted by Bundle of Sticks back in the day, traded to you from HUD.
A third round
2024 third round pick.
Third round pick. But then I shipped him for James Cook.
And then you gave him up for James Cook, which is right now, that's fine. That's fine.
It's pretty even. It's a 100-point difference and keep trade cut value difference.
Yeah. I don't mind that at all. But holy shit, 2024 third round pick.
Yeah.
Hey HUD, how you feeling, bro?
How is HUD feeling? Because I think it's the perfect transition or segue into our next point, reviewing trades.
Let's do HUD.
Reviewing trades, and we'll look at HUD as well, because HUD's involved in this next trade I want to highlight, where not only did he trade Baker Mayfield for a third. Now, given you have to look at when he made the trade in his defense. When he made that trade, Baker, it was early on before he popped off last year. So it was like week 4 of last year.
He made the trade when Baker was on Carolina.
Didn't he? No, I think he was with Tampa. It was his first season with Tampa, and it was just starting out, and he hadn't blown up yet. And I went and got him before he blown up, and then he blew up. And then I tried to sell high on him, thinking that he would not do what he did again, and he did even better. So, kudos to him. But also, HUD not only traded away Baker, but he also traded away Jaden Daniels to the other commish. So it looks like the commissions kind of had their way with HUD the stud on a couple of QBs trades.
Yeah. I mean, this is my team. We're going to talk about me a little bit later. But yeah, that trade did well for me.
And Tank Dell's probably done.
Tank Dell, I think he died this year.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he's coming back with that.
Michael Pittman didn't have the quarterback, nor does he have the ability to do it. All right, he can have my third round pick. I got a first round and Jaden Daniels.
Which the first round ends up being a what? That's a 2025, right?
Yeah, that's next year. Or it's this year. And so I'm sitting
Yes. So it's 11. It's 111.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, it's a first round pick, and you got Jaden, who Jaden looked amazing. So he's doing fantastic as well.
Yeah. You want to talk about some of our predictions and prospects for the years to come?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's get into the playoff teams first of all. Boom. All right. So we had 6 playoff teams. We had AtCat. We had School Vikings, which is run by Big Shane, GT Stormtroopers by my brother-in-law, Corey Bailey. We got Ryan, our past champion, Hud the Stud, and our current champion, Mark Foyt. All right. So first of all, do you want me to bring up any of these teams? And my first question to you is, which of these teams are not going to be in the playoffs next year?
Good question. I don't know. I think Big Shane's team is getting kind of up there in age.
Yeah.
Where we could see a fall off in performance.
For sure. Let's talk about School Vikings. We got the guy Kyler Murray I was talking about.
Yeah.
He's got Saquon. And so he got Saquon and Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill. All right. So if this is your team, Zach, AJ Brown, Joe Mixon, like this team is freaking stacked of 30-year-olds.
Yes.
30-year-olds. Are you selling? Are you selling? Are you tanking? What are you doing with Big Shane's team?
I think I'm going to take a hard look at this team, and I'm going to ask myself some serious questions without trying to have my optimistic hat on and my realist practical hat on. And I'm going to ask myself, do I think that I'll be able to do better 1 year older on an already old team with this team? And if the answer is no, if the answer is yes, then absolutely make the moves, make the drafts, make some minor moves to figure out how to make yourself a little bit better. Maybe you had a little bit more some injury things. I see Monty on there. Maybe there were some things, some holes that were the difference on why you weren't able to finish. He doesn't have any first round or he doesn't have any 2025 draft pick capital. So, it might be something that he looks at trading, his 2026 first round or something to make it. But if the answer is no, and it's like, I don't think that I have a real shot. Because here's a problem. The risk is that you can make the improvements to try to make a championship run with this team. But regardless, even if you do win a championship, you having value fall off a cliff, irrecoverable value that you cannot get. So if it were me, and this is just free advice from somebody who doesn't know how to make the playoffs or win championships, is I would take a good hard look and try to sell some of these players. I'm a Kyler Murray fan. I'm not necessarily, I don't share the same views as you do with him. I think it was a comeback year for him. I think he'll be better next year than he was this year. But Saquon has a lot of buzz. Cooper Kupp, maybe you can get, second round value for him. Tyreek Hill, you can always maybe possibly squeeze out a first. Maybe he gets shipped back to the Chiefs. And there's some reuniting. He already says he wants out of Miami. So look at some of those players and try to move them. AJ Brown. And I would seriously consider taking this time to rebuild on this team. And you don't have a lot of time to make a decision. So yeah, it's a tough one. This is one for me that would be a tough spot. It'd be hard pressed for me to continue on to win another year, knowing that I'm going to have this much value just falling to the floor and not being able to ever recover with no draft capital up front. It's almost like you have to sell to some win now teams. So identify those teams early and go get them.
I'll tell you right now, if I'm Mark, I am giving whatever it takes to get Saquon Barkley on my team for next year.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That's a great,
try
to go for a back-to-back.
Because you go now. If you win a championship, you don't let back. You put your foot on the gas.
Especially so Mark, who has all the draft capital that he has,
and he has
pieces. Yep.
One team that I kind of wanted to talk about was he one of the third best record in the league? Our last year's champion. All right, Ryan. Fell off in the playoffs this year. He has been one of the most active players in our team, and I really respect him for that. Ryan is in this limbo phase. He's one of those middle teams. So if you are Ryan with players like Josh Allen, you got Cortland Sutton, who may have had his best year ever just now. DeAndre Swift, who's done. James Conner, probably done. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing if you're Ryan? You have Pacheco down there, too.
So Matthew Stafford's his second quarterback. Who's his third quarterback?
A guy named Cooper Rush.
Yeah, so
who
he
just lost out on $250,000.
He got screwed from Jerry Jones for like $500K or something like that. He needed
like, how cheap can you be,
dude? What do you need? Like 55% snaps, and he He just needed like, oh my gosh, yeah.
We're talking about one of the richest guys on the planet, and he just snubbed him for pennies.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? All right.
Anyway. Slap in the face. Yeah, I mean, I think
what's Ryan doing?
Ryan has all my respect. I think he's one of the better fantasy players and owners that I know. So
agreed.
Kudos to him. He is a trade master. So if there is anybody who can craft something to bob and weave and be agile and kind of make a shift, it's Ryan. He knows how to take a Matthew Stafford and a Hunter Henry and flip him into, gold. Somehow, some way, he does it every time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a move, but I do agree. I think he's got some challenges at the quarterback position. I think he's got some challenges at the running back position, and he'll need to figure that out. The problem is that I don't know how much draft capital he has to work with, so he's going to have to again find some other win now teams that aren't as serious of a threat that he can push those people off to. So yeah tough spot.
He had a bye week, and then he got his ass kicked by the person that would eventually win the championship.
Oof.
Can't beat by like 50.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things. That's fantasy. If I'm Ryan, I'm hurting right now. I'm hurting. Like, it hurts inside.
It's just hard, though, when you have a team that just gets red hot. Mark just 178, 160, 174. Like, it's just –
that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do.
It's tough. So, that's good. What about rebuilding teams?
All right, so there's two clear rebuilding teams. The first one is Vic.
Yeah.
Our good buddy, who went with Caleb Williams. Can't blame him with that. I think he'll be better. His team he's doing it right. He's got Bijan. Like, he's got Ladd, who speaking of rookie wide receivers.
Wide receiver 14.
He's the second best.
Yeah.
Other than Brian Thomas Jr., he's the second best. Wide receiver 13 has him right here.
13.
He needs a tight end. No, he has Brock Bowers, dude. He's good.
Yeah.
He's got Brock Bowers. He needs another quarterback. But dude, he's Michael Penix being top 12 away from being a contender, I think.
Oh yeah.
He might
Kendra Miller. But
he got Kendra. His bench is a little rough. Christian Watson died today, by the way. Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
He's done. He may not even. He probably won't be back until halfway through next year.
But he's got Waddle. Look at Waddle. Slot Waddle into his starting lineup.
All right, let's just do that. Look at this.
And if Tyreek Hill leaves, what does that do for Waddle?
Oh, it boosts Waddle a ton.
Yes, exactly.
But look at this abysmal season that Waddle had. He had one great week, one good week, and all the rest were piss poor. Like, ugh.
Yeah, Tua was injured, man. Tua was dealing with some injuries, All
right, if I'm Vic right now, I'm dealing Waddle. No, I'm not dealing Waddle right now. I'm waiting for him to pop off next year, week 1 and 2, and then I'm dealing him.
Yeah, Vic, you can go ahead and send me a trade offer for Waddle. I might entertain it.
There you go. But he's going to be strapped. So in Dynasty, you need two quarterback. You need two good quarterbacks to win. He's got one.
Well, he's got the second overall pick, so he can go two options. He can go for like a stud like Genty, if that's not who you're getting, because you're the other guy who's rebuilding, who has the first overall pick. We'll talk about in just a second. But he can take a guy like Genty and fill him in, or he could potentially trade down and and pair the trade down with Stafford and get a quarterback. I don't know if getting a quarterback at 102 is the best move with the quarterbacks there. Maybe, you never know with these guys. So,
Depends on where they go. I mean, Shador is probably going to be like a Giant, and Cam is going to be, I don't know, Las Vegas, something like that. And but I'll give Vic a little credit because I was on him all year on this. I'm still going to be on him. It may not end up this way, but look what he has.
Oh right my here. Gosh,
he has
a 201.
He has my second round pick.
He essentially has 4 first round picks.
Yes, he has my first round pick, and then his. All right, sorry, he has my second round pick and his own second round pick.
201 and 202.
He's getting 4 of the top 14 players.
Yeah.
Now I can still get him off that. I've been trying. I got a couple things in my back pocket to get him off of it, but he's been very stubborn about it, as he should be.
Yeah,
and I don't blame him at all. He's got good draft capital. I think he's in a slightly better position than I am. It's my opinion, but I'll leave that opinion to you. So here's my team. Obviously, don't worry about Mason Rudolph. Things I have going are
nobody worries about Mason Rudolph.
Young running backs right there. My boy Zay, and then I got 3 solid young wide receivers.
Well, Dobbs just went up. Watson goes down. Dobbs goes up, right?
Dobbs, I always love Dobbs.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have my stud. I have 1 stud quarterback.
Breakout year for JSN. I love it.
But
yeah, who's your stud quarterback?
Jaden Daniels.
Oh, Jaden Daniels. There he is. Okay. I was looking at Will Levis down there. I was like, no way. But okay. You got Jaden Daniels. So yeah, you slot in a quarterback, a good quarterback, and your team's great.
And I have Justin Fields waiting in the byline, like just hanging out.
Yeah.
Waiting for his turn. If it never happens, it's fine. I got Spencer Rattler down there. And here are my picks. I have 3 first rounders. I have the number 1 overall, obviously. And then I have I think I have the back 2.
Okay. Yeah. 2 of the last 3. I think Kavanaugh had the 112, I believe. And then HUD was 111. And then Ryan, I think he was down there 110, 109, something like that.
I'll be looking to trade back. Like if I can get 2 first rounders for that number 1 overall, I'll take it.
And that's very reasonable. There's a lot of people that won't get away from 101 for you'll see people try to get 3. So, I think asking for 2 for 101 is a reasonable request.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. And obviously it depends. It depends on where Shador goes.
Yeah. You like him better? You like Shador Sanders way more than the Hurricanes quarterback?
Cam Ward? No, I don't. I don't like either of them, honestly. There's a bunch of draft classes I would prefer to be number 1 overall. I've been there, and this is not one of them. Like the year I drafted Bijan in my other league, that was pretty cool. I
think this is going to be one of the worst draft classes in recent memory.
For what position? All positions?
All positions. The only looking at I'm not sure if you guys do this, but on Keep Trade Cut, when you're looking at the dynasty resources in the options, there's an option called Debbie Resources.
Wait. Guide me there. Where am I going?
Yeah. So go to Keep Trade Cut. Can you pull that up on the screen?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna.
So while he's pulling that up, I'll just kind of walk you guys through it, and he'll follow me. So you basically hit the little 3 lines or whatever, and pull up the resources, and out of the options, you'll see trade calculator and all this stuff, and dynasty rankings and all that stuff. But if you scroll down from there, you'll see a section called Debbie Rankings, DEVY Rankings.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up. You tell me where to go.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I got the wrong one.
And essentially what this does is it grabs the guys Yeah. So go to go down, click on fantasy resources down there on the bottom left of that left column. And scroll down. Debbie resources right there. You see that? Down at the bottom, right there. Yep, Debbie rankings. Click that. All right. So what this is going to show you is this is going to show you guys in the NCAA that, and it'll show their eligible year. So you see in that, you'll see their position column and what they're ranked. Ashton Genty's RB1 as far as out of all the guys that are in college right now, that they're projected.
Arch Manning's QB1.
QB1, bro.
He's not even a starter.
He's a Manning, bro. So it's
Stupid. That's stupid.
No, it's not. Ewers is stupid. It's stupid that Ewers is starting right now, and they didn't start Manning early in the season to get us to the point to where.
Wait, how is Ewers not over Arch Manning when Arch Manning's only started 2 games and Ewers has started 28?
Because Ewers is trash. He can't throw. He's not a real quarterback. He can't throw more than 20 yards without he can't. He can throw. You know what Ewers is good at? Throwing 7 to 15-yard passes. He's great at it. But that's it.
And that will win him a national championship. He won't win a Super Bowl.
His defense and support system is going to win a national championship. I digress.
How is Arch Manning the number 1 quarterback in all of college football in the system? He started 2 games.
So how this chart works is not, hey, this is it. Over Shedeur Sanders, over Cameron Ward. He's better right now. These are projections. These are development rankings. This is guys that are in development that are projected to be good in the NFL when they're eligible to go to the NFL. So this isn't based off of what they've done to prove. This is speculation. This is a speculation chart.
I get all that, and that's fucking stupid. It's stupid. And look at my wall. I am a huge Longhorns fan. Okay, massive Longhorns fan. Right now, they're my only football team I have. They are. Yeah. Sorry. And that is stupid. He is not the number 1 projected quarterback in the NFL.
Well, when he gets there, that's and so just make sure you understand the chart right. When they're saying when he gets to the NFL, he will be better than all these guys. So,
so how much of that is his last name?
I would say a good amount for sure, but also we've seen him with the limited amount of time that he's had. We've seen him do some great things.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited about him.
Yeah,
I think that is eventually his ranking. Now,
that's what this is. This is an
he's a redshirt sophomore. That's stupid.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
But again, this chart is an eventual ranking system. This is what this is. So.
How much did Cooper and Peyton and Eli invest in this website?
Yeah, I don't know. But
that's what I want to know.
It's a good thing to look at. Go back to that previous screen. It's a good thing to look at when you're looking at the 2025 eligibility.
Oh, for sure.
And looking at rankings to say, hey, who do I want to target? Who do I want to look into for this draft that's going to be coming up in a few months? And you have no idea where to go. Shane may not go here, but some of you may. And at least gives you an opportunity to identify some names and start getting yourself familiar with the rookie class, and at least start looking into some of these names. So focus on the 2025 eligibility years because that's what's relevant to you. If you're drafting this, if you have some draft picks this season, especially in the first round, and then just familiarize yourself with some of this value as far as where they're going to be. Now the 9999, that's obviously not completely relatable to Brock Bowers' 9999 and the actual Keep Trade Cut Dynasty Tight End Premium Plus rankings. It's just where they stand for these developmental speculative players. So anyways, I thought it's a good resource to look at for Dynasty to kind of look into the draft. And, there's some good names. But back to my point is this draft class is ass. It's shit. It's garbage. Cameron Ward, Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterbacks that this draft class has to offer. And neither one of those teams made the playoffs in a 12-team playoff system in the NCAA this year. The wide receiver 1, McMillan, he was for Arizona, not Arizona State, but the Arizona Wildcats. He's the number one wide receiver to go off the board this year in the draft, rookie draft, and he's not. His team didn't even make the playoffs. So you have a bunch of guys that are part of systems that aren't great that they're saying are supposed to be the best of their class. I think last year was the best offensive. It broke so many records, draft class ever, period.
Yeah.
And I think that has its ramifications, meaning that I think that you're going to see inversely a ton of defensive players go in the first round because of all that first round talent that got swallowed up and pushed in to break all those records. I think we're going to have a pullback draft class. Mark my words, come April, when the draft is coming up, I think you're going to see a lot of defensive players go in that first round in the NFL draft. Therefore, guarding fantasy, I think it's Genty and maybe a couple guys, and that's it.
All right, but last year, what did we not have? You said last year was one of the best offensive NFL classes, which I agree with. But what did we not have last year? Running backs.
We had quarterbacks.
We didn't have running backs. We had one running back, and he played 2 games and tore his ACL again.
True. That is the draft. That is the position on this draft class that's supposed to be deep.
And and obviously our dynasty league is different. But what is the most important position in dynasty?
Quarterback.
No.
Tight end.
Right in. It's running back, dude. It's running back.
In dynasty?
No, not in dynasty. In fantasy. In fantasy overall, the most important position is running back. In our dynasty leagues, it's not. It's not. But right. in fantasy, the most important position is typically running back. And I think this year is going to be the Genty. It's going to be the Scatterbows. And we're going to have some running backs coming out of this class. And even deeper than that, like who knows what the Weissner kids coming out of Texas is going to do. Like there's all kinds of running backs coming out. And I think it's going to even it out. I think this is going to be the worst quarterback draft of the decade.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think Cam Ward's ceiling is maybe Trevor Lawrence's floor.
I mean, we've seen that be pretty low.
I think it's a ceiling, dude.
Yeah, that's
because I haven't seen Cam Ward a ton. And Shedeur Sanders, what's gonna happen is he's gonna get drafted to the Giants or something. He's going to.
Now, is this a situation? I'm gonna cut you off. Is this a situation where you're gonna talk all this shit about Cam Ward and talk about how his ceiling is Trevor Lawrence's floor, and then you're gonna pick him up and draft him at the 101?
Of course.
Of course. Okay, just checking.
As long as we're on the same page there.
Yeah. Okay.
It obviously depends where he goes.
Yeah.
Shedeur probably going to be a Giant. He's going to shit the bed for 2 years. Then his dad's going to become coach, and he's probably going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it goes. Like NFL is politics. All right, we're on 47 minutes, and people don't like to listen to that very long. So give me one final point.
I think I think I got through my points, to be honest with you. I wanted to end on the rookies. I'm just excited for the rookie draft coming up. I'm excited for some trades to get going on. I think just throwing it out there, I think we talked about it before the podcast started as far as potentially maybe transitioning the season earlier. Eager to see you guys in the chat. Maybe if you get to this point, 48 minutes into this podcast, and maybe we'll put a note as well in the chat. But if it's something that you guys want to do, last time we waited towards, I think, right after the draft to transition trades, right before, somewhere around the NFL draft. Or no, it was the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. It was a week after the Super Bowl. It was a week after the Super Bowl that we did it, I think, last time. But if you guys want to do it sooner, get some trades going before, definitely open to doing that. And I almost think that'd probably be my preference to kind of get activity to keep going.
All right. There we go. Also, next year's champion, throwing it out there, Mark Foyt to repeat.
I think so, man. I think the amount of draft capital that he has and how young his team is, I think he can do it all.
Next year's champion is the one that no one would expect me to say, Mark Foyt. You, sir, up there in Chicago with the silver bean, my boy, my man. You're my pick to repeat, brother.
I don't know if he's mine, but he's definitely going to be a contender, I think. So congrats again, Mark.
Hey, thank you so much. This is your commissioners for May the Best Man Win Dynasty Football. If you have any suggestions or remarks, please, throw them out there. I'll ignore most of them, but you can still talk. It's freedom of speech. Anyways, we love having all you guys on the league, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. But for me, Lil Shane and Zach over here, this has been May the Best Man Win by the Dynasty Football Podcast, and good night.
All right. See you later, man. See y'all.